Okay, in this episode, we're going to be looking at what inspires you, and what inspiration is there out there for Napoleonic wargaming. What TV shows, what films are there you could get inspiration from? The lure of Napoleonic wargaming lies not only in its historical significance, but also in the captivating stories that are brought to life on our screens, both large and small. Movies and TV set in this particular period of history offer a wealth of inspiration for wargaming enthusiasts looking to recreate the drama, tactics and excitement of this period. So we're going to look at some TV and film that can serve as inspiration and to help you put some armies on the table and play some games. So TV and film that are generally set in the Napoleonic period often feature meticulous costume and design. These visual details can serve as references for painting and detailing our miniatures, to ensure as much historical accuracy as possible, as well as adding some depth to the wargaming battles. So whether it's the iconic uniforms of the British or the flamboyant attire of the French Hussars, TV and film can help us replicate the look for our tabletops. Many of the TV shows and films that are out there tend to showcase Napoleon battles with varying degrees of accuracy. Some observe the accurate tactics of the period of the manoeuvring and combat strategies, whilst others it's a bit of they've gone for a more free fall sort of look. It's not very accurate, but it is exciting. And we can study these to help us sort of with our wargaming experience and give us some ideas of sort of types of games we want to play on the tabletop. Now, these portrayals of battles can provide a foundation for crafting fairly historically accurate scenarios, whether it's the Battle of Waterloo in the film Waterloo or the Peninsular War campaigns that we see in TV shows such as Sharpe. The narratives can serve as a template for our wargaming scenarios. We can recreate the pivotal moments that are captured on the screen, or use them as a basis for what-if battles. We can take them as inspiration, or we could take them as a way of recreating exactly what we've seen on the screen onto our tabletop. One of the great things these TV shows and films are good for is terrain. They can give us some inspiration on the types of terrain we want to recreate and place down on our battle boards, our gaming tables. Things like the Sharpe television series gives us a fairly accurate look and feel of what Spain would have been like during that period. War and Peace will give you reasonably accurate and fairly good inspiration for recreating the campaigns and some of the battles in Russia and Eastern Europe. They allow us to sort of recreate iconic, what I would say, Hollywood settings rather than historical settings. They'll have an historical flavour, but we can recreate what we see on the television screen onto the tabletop. But they may not be historically accurate, but they'll be accurate to where we've got our inspiration from. Good things of looking at TV and film for inspiration is it can give us some narrative. We can literally lift the narrative from those television programs and those films and use them as inspiration for our games on the tabletop. We could literally play through all of the episodes of Sharpe on the tabletop. We could take the narrative structure that has been recreated in the books by Bernard Cornwell and on the television series, and place that narrative onto our tabletop. So that's where, you know, fusing film and TV can inspire our own narrative campaigns in wargaming, and so we can use them as they're at the forefront of our gaming, or as backdrops to our gaming, by introducing aspects from it into our games. Another area where we can get some inspiration is what you might call the colour palette, and the aesthetic choices when it comes to modelling and painting. You know, we could take the same, say, the soft muted tones from a drama and recreate that on our miniatures. They may not be entirely historically accurate, but it might be a feel and look we want for our painted armies. But it also can give us reference points as well, of what some of those, say, uniforms look like, what the buildings may have looked like in colour-wise. So it's always good to pull those sort of reference points out of television and film, and bring them onto our tabletop, because you might not get it from a book, or, you know, reading a passage of text. Visually, seeing it on the film or on a TV screen can suddenly generate some ideas of what you want your tabletop to look like, what you want the train to look like, what you want the uniforms and colours of your armies to look like. If you take Sharpe, for instance, there are units, French units in Sharpe that never existed in real life. They're fictional units, and we could take that information and recreate those units on the tabletop. Now, you wouldn't be able to do that if you were reading doing historical research, because they didn't exist. Like the Wolf Brigade from Sharpe, you could recreate that French unit to use on the tabletop and play through a campaign and a series of sort of games and battles with that unit. You could only get that piece of inspiration from the television show. So there are things like that in where there may not be historical elements in a TV show. They've been fictionally created, but they might be great for pulling out and recreating on the tabletop. So what TV and film offers is a gateway to the Napoleonic period, beyond passive viewing for us as wargamers. It can provide a lot of inspiration from on-screen portrayals that can enrich our wargaming experience, either with some historical accuracy or captivating narratives to place into our narrative campaign, aesthetics to sort of push for painting influence, terrain building, that sort of thing. So, you know, whether it's replicating uniforms or looking at some of the tactics used in those films and TV shows to recreate them out on the tabletop, or getting inspiration for terrain pieces to go on the tabletop and creating a table set within a particular area. It really does give us the ability to embrace some of the influence from TV and film that will add an extra layer to our games. Or you could literally immerse yourself completely in a TV series on the tabletop. You could lift Sharpe television series, and I'll talk about Sharpe a lot, and literally recreate it, every single episode, every single battle, conflict, you know, on the tabletop, and replay it out from start to beginning, from Sharpe's rifles through to Sharpe Waterloo. It really is, you know, up to you, but using television and film for some inspiration is a great way of doing it. It doesn't all have to be looking at books and a lot of historical research. You can literally lift elements from television and film and recreate it onto the tabletop. You don't need to be historically dry. It doesn't have to be historically accurate to play Napoleonics. You can literally recreate what you've seen on television and film. Anyway, that's all for this episode. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.